thank you for joining me. I'm Marta, for those of you that might be joining who I've never met before. And this is a 1-hour yin class, which is going to we're going to slow things down a little bit. Most of the postures that we're going to be doing for this practice are going to be either lying down or sitting or on our belly. And we're going to be holding the postures a little bit longer to give the not just our muscles, but also the connective tissue around the muscles and the joints in particular, a little bit more time to relax and release. So there's lots of time as we hold these poses longer to really kind of drop in a little bit deeper to the practice and offer yourself time to drop into just a quieter state, a slower state. This is the yin practice by nature is cooling and calming and quiet. So we will begin. If you are just joining, we're going to want a blanket, and if you have a firm throw pillow, go ahead and grab that. And I would like to just start on our backs this evening. So what you're going to do, and I have the blanket, but if you do have a firm throw pillow, you can just lie it down, like maybe in your lower back area or your mid back area. I want you to just kind of see where it's going to feel really nice so that we can begin just in a really nice, gentle heart opener, a nice little back bend, but nothing that it shouldn't feel really strenuous, or it shouldn't feel like too much. That's why I said the pillow is a really nice option. If you don't have one, you can just fold your towel or your blanket or whatever it is that you have, and find that spot on your back. Maybe it's the lower back. Sometimes it feels really nice just to kind of get that blanket or that pillow just fitting right into the lower back area to support that. And sometimes maybe you have a lot of tension in your upper back area between the shoulder blades, and you might want to put your blanket or your pillow in that area. And then go ahead and maybe just explore, where do your arms want to be? Where do they want to rest? They want to be down by your side, out to the side. Maybe they want to be up overhead, kind of a little bit more of an extended back bend. Very good. And then whenever you're ready, I want you to feel free to close your eyes. This is a really nice way to just send that signal right away to the nervous system, just to begin to relax and calm down as we remove our sense of sight. The eyes, the muscles of the eyes don't have to process what we're looking at. We can just drop in and begin to feel our bodies. So maybe beginning with just a nice long draw of air, just breathing in, really taking your time to fill up and just feeling your whole body expanding, your chest rising, your belly rising. And then go ahead and let out a little bit of sound, a little sigh if that is speaking to you as you breathe out. Maybe breathing out through the nose. You might want to make a little bit of a whooshing sound, whatever feels like what you're needing right now. And do that again. Breathe all the way in. Just feel that breath creating more space in and around the tissues of the lungs and the rib cage, the upper back. Imagine that spaciousness reaching all the way out to your arms, your legs, your hands, and your feet. And then letting all that breath go, just like a balloon deflating, like the wind going out of the sails, just allowing yourself to empty. Emptying of breath, but also emptying of negative, stagnant energy. Just letting go of your day. And thank yourself for showing up for yourself. Right? That's the one little piece that we often overlook, is just to have that awareness, that sense of gratitude that you've made time for your practice and you've made time for your own health and well-being. So this practice will ask that you simply set an intention to let this be a pause in your day, to really dedicate this time to your well-being, to slow down a little bit, and to restore yourself back to a sense of calm, a sense of balance, to being revived rather than feeling frenetic and fatigued. Right. Okay. And from here, you can go ahead and maybe roll off of your blanket there, your pillow, whatever it is that you were using. And maybe just lift the back and just slide it out. Come back onto your back, and then just for a few moments here before we go into our next posture, maybe just hug your knees in. I always like to rock, particularly at the end of the day. If you're doing this practice at the end of the day, it just feels really nice just to bring the knees I like to hook my knees into my, the crease of my elbows there, and I just grab a wrist with one hand. So the knees are a little bit wider. And then as you rock left to right, let your head just follow the line of your spine. So as you roll to your left, your head goes along, and as you roll to your right, your head goes along. And then you can take just release your knees here for a moment. And we're just going to get a little bit of movement in the joints here. So you can circle your ankles and circle your wrists. And then just start to wiggle and shake your arms and your legs, just kicking with your legs, shaking your arms, just moving. All right. Good. And then you can come up for a moment here just so you can see what I'm doing. And then you're going to want your blanket or your beach towel, whatever it is that you're using. So we're going to make a roll with this. And you want it fairly high. I've made mine, this is probably about maybe 6 inches high, the rolled blanket. And then just watch up here for a moment so that you can actually see what I'm doing. I'm going to come onto my back, and then I'll put this, I'm going to slide that roll underneath my sacrum, okay? And I'm gonna bring myself this way just a little bit so that I'm almost like coming off the sacrum towards the tailbone a little bit more. So what that's gonna do, if you can see my hands, it's gonna rock my pelvis this way a little bit, okay, versus this way, if you see my hands. So not like this, where it kind of makes my ribs pop out, but I'm gonna slide to the point where it's almost like my lower back is kind of dropping towards the floor here. Then, and you gotta wiggle around a little bit to make sure it's comfortable, you're gonna take your legs out in front of you. So this is a really passive stretch for our psoas muscle. This big muscle that attaches to the interior of your lower back, your lumbar spine. It runs through the center of your hips and attaches to the front of your femur bone. So if you get into it and it feels kind of funny, just like I said, just kind of move around. Maybe you might be even really down, like almost on the tip of your tailbone on that blanket, okay? Stretch the legs out, and you should just feel a really nice, like I said, a gentle, passive stretch, passive release through the front of the hips. And it's not just stretching the psoas. If you take some time here, and you can keep your eyes closed, and just as you evenly, smoothly just breathe here, you can begin to feel all the different ways in which this is stretching. So it's all that soft tissue as well around the front of the hips, the hip flexors, the fascia tissue, the connective tissue. This is a really nice posture to do if you spent a lot of time sitting, if you've had a desk day, or that's just your days are typically a lot of sitting. This is going to feel really nice. Notice if there's a holding, a sense of holding, or a sense of rigidity anywhere in your body. Maybe you might be feeling it more in the upper body, maybe in the shoulders or the arms or the chest. So just bring your awareness to those areas and begin to give those areas permission to release and to relax. Just simply notice and start to develop the witness or the observer's mind, where we're not thinking about the experience that we're having, but you're simply sitting in that seat of consciousness and noticing the moment as it unfolds. Noticing your body as you stay here longer in this pose. Listening in a very kind and compassionate way to the feedback that you're receiving from your body, from your own body. Let's see how much space you have in your mind, in your body. And if there is a sense of space there as you begin to, breathe a little bit more intentionally, then let's work on increasing that and creating more spaciousness. Right? All right. I'm going to have you just slowly bend your knees here so that you can bring the bottoms of your feet back down on the floor. And then you're just going to lift your bottom up in the air. Take your your blanket, your rolled blanket, and just set it off to the side. Good. And just bring your arms straight out to the side so they're kind of in a T shape. We're just going to do a few cat-cow-like movements. So we're not getting up to do them. We're just going to do them on our back. So as you inhale, you're just going to lift your belly. You're going to lift your bottom ribs. Peel that lower back away from the floor. And as you exhale, you're going to press your lower back into the floor. You'll notice that your head wants to kind of do an interesting thing. As you arc your back and draw the lower back away from the floor, your back of your neck lengthens, your chin draws toward the chest, and then as you press the low back into the floor, you're going to feel your chin move away from, and you're going to open up the front of the throat there. And same with the spine in the back, right? When you arc the back, you're stretching the fibers of the front of the spine. And as you exhale and round the back, you're stretching the fibers of the back of the spine. Let's just do a few more. Maybe just getting a little bit bigger with your movements as you go. You might feel yourself starting to migrate off your mat. If you start to go on a little journey, just bring yourself back onto your mat. Very good. Okay, and then you're going to stretch your left leg out, hug your right knee into your chest. Give it a nice squeeze. And then we're going to move into cat pulling its tail. So you're going to take your right knee across your body, and that's going to go over to your left. Now here, if you want to, if you have a bolster, you've got those pillows or a blanket block, you could put that right leg that's extended now over to your left. You could prop that on a bolster if you need that. If you're comfortable bringing the leg all the way down, you can. All right. I encourage you to try to take that right leg straight. If it's too much, just let the knee bend. Don't worry about it. Arms can go in opposite directions. Now, the last little part of this pose, and maybe it doesn't happen right away, and maybe it doesn't even happen today, is to bend the opposite leg, so the left leg, and you might reach down with your right hand and grab that left foot. Possibly, right? It's a possibility, and that's all it is. It's just it's a choice. Maybe you have a strap around, you want to try to hook a strap over that foot, and if not, no big deal. Just let yourself rest here. If you can hold on to your right foot with your left hand, great. If you can't, you can grab onto the calf. Maybe you're only able to reach and hold on to the outer right knee with your left hand, and that's okay too. Okay, wherever you are, again, we want to just take a moment to pause, find your breath. Big breath in, just imagining that breath creating space throughout your body, throughout your mind. And as you breathe out, we're releasing tension, right? Just dialing in. Just allowing gravity and time to just do the necessary work here. If your mind feels like it's all over the place, there's a lot of thoughts racing around, just give yourself a pass for that. This is what the mind does, right? We can just, every time that you feel that happening, we come back to something that feels grounding, something that will keep us anchored in the present moment. That might be just the inhale and the exhale, right? Just simply noticing that breath, that movement. Maybe it's a sound or a sensation in the room that you're in. Maybe it's just the white noise that tends to just be there. Just gently bring yourself back. And when it happens again, bring yourself back again. We're going to slowly start to come out of this. Go ahead and just take your time. Bring that right leg back to center. Bring yourself back onto your back. You can give your knees a little squeeze here. Gently rock from side to side again. Just kind of massaging that lower back area. And then we're going to just do the same on the other side. So you're going to extend your right leg long. You're going to draw your left knee in. And again, if you want to use that prop, that left knee is going to come across the body. If you can, you're going to extend that leg out straight. Maybe you reach to the foot with your hand, maybe to the ankle, the outer calf. Left arm can just reach out away from the body, over to your left. You just give yourself a few moments here. And then if you want to explore bending your right knee, reaching down, seeing if you can grab hold of that right foot with your left hand. If you do get that far, I want to ask you just to see if you can encourage the upper left part of your back to start to kind of release down towards the floor. I don't expect the left shoulder blade to come down, but just that you're kind of encouraging towards that. Just giving the body ample time, ample opportunity to find the ability to release and relax into these postures. That can often come with a lot of resistance. Right? Sometimes the poses feel really challenging. It challenges us physically. Sometimes they challenge us more mentally than anything. Again, when you have those thoughts, just notice them as thoughts. They're just that. They only hold the power that we allow them to hold. Right? Ultimately, we can choose to give those thoughts energy and to cultivate maybe more stress, maybe more anxiety about what you're feeling, or we can choose to relax. We can choose to hold compassion and kindness for whatever it is that is coming up for us. We can breathe. And we can begin to find another way through. It might be a nice time to, again, just check in with the rest of your body. Check in with your neck. Check in with the muscles in your face. Muscles around your jawline. Your temples and your eyes. See if you've created some just rigidity. We do this very unconsciously. It's just a way of our bodies responding or reacting to the posture. And so the more that we're able to just become aware and to recognize when that's happening, then as time goes on, we can begin to catch ourselves, right? So that we can notice that we have patterns of holding or patterns of becoming rigid in response to stress, to challenge, right? Once we're aware that's the first step, then we can begin to kind of stop it in its tracks before it allows it to really kind of take up residence, to take a, get a hold in our system. All right, you're going to have you slowly come back to center. Left leg first, coming back. Right leg coming back. And then go ahead one more time and give your knees a nice little hug into the chest. We'll just release the lower back, just giving it a little bit of a massage. All right, and then come back to center. We're gonna bring the feet down. You can keep your knees bent for now, and I'm just gonna have you, without moving your butt, so not moving your butt over, you're just gonna walk your feet over to the right. Just walk as far as you can. We're gonna stretch the legs out. We're going to come into banana asana. So the legs are over to the right, and then you're going to take your head and your shoulders over to the right as well. So it's going to feel like your body is in somewhat of a kind of a parenthesis, just one of the parentheses shape. If this works, if it's okay for your shoulders, listen to your body. You can reach the arms up overhead. You might grab your left wrist with your right hand. If you're bent over to the other side, you're going to want to grab your right wrist. Or maybe you just want to grab forearms. You're going to start to feel a really nice opening. Make sure your left butt cheek is still resting on your mat. There's a tendency to kind of roll away and kind of get off that. We want to make sure both shoulder blades, both sides of your bottom are resting on the floor. Back of your head resting. If you want a little bit more from this stretch, one option that might feel interesting or might feel nice is to take your left ankle and cross it over your right. If for whatever reason you're bent over to the left in your shape, then you're going to cross your right ankle over your left. Take a big breath in. Let out a little bit of sound. Just creating a little bit of vibration. It's a really nice way to facilitate, again, just releasing tension in the body. Getting us a little bit more connected and grounded into our bodies. As we approach the end of our time in this posture, just really letting go here, letting your hips and your pelvis get really heavy, your upper back and your shoulders getting heavy and relaxing, the back of your neck, the back of your head. And then we're going to gently come back to center. Just walk your legs back to center. And then you can just keep going with the legs. You can keep walking them all the way over to your left or the other direction if you did the other side. And again, you're going to reach your arms up overhead. You'll grab your wrist with your hand so you can really find some nice length along the right side of your body there. Maybe you cross the right ankle over the left after maybe a few breaths. Maybe you do it right away. And again, just allowing yourself just to simply sit with what is. Whatever is there for you, whatever is arising, this is such an important practice. It's potent, it's powerful, it will get you through life's ups and downs. And I don't know about you, but this last year, there's been many ups and downs. It's been like a roller coaster, right? It's like you're on the ocean, you're being tossed by the waves. From one minute you're up, and then you're down, and then you're up, and then you're down. And I think even in the best of times, life can be like that. And there's an old saying that I used to know quite well. It was like, you can't stop the waves, right? Just the waves that life throws our way, but we can learn how to surf. And I think that is a really invaluable way to look at things. There are going to be days that are going to be easier than others, and the days that are not, the days where you feel really low and unmotivated. Maybe even you're dealing with it feels almost more like depression. I think one practice that we can do, and this obviously isn't for somebody that's dealing with chronic depression, but if you're having the usual ups and downs and you're in one of the low places, is rather than resisting that and telling ourselves that something is wrong and that we need to change it, it needs to just shift right away, is just to allow that feeling to be there, to make space for the lows, the days that feel dark, and to be compassionate with ourselves in those moments, and to realize that for the most part, life is going to have those days. Nobody ever said they were all going to be the highs, right? And to really appreciate the highs, right? Really embrace the days that are easier, that are, just have a greater sense of ease, the days where the sun is shining and everything goes the way you planned. You're getting things done, you're feeling, aligned and productive. Embrace those days, but also notice and recognize that you're going to have the lows. Nothing's gone wrong. It's just where you're at in that moment. And I think sometimes the sooner we can just recognize that, and maybe just do a little bit less that day, I think it relieves a huge amount of anxiety and pressure on ourselves. Let's come back to center. Give yourself maybe a little stretch. Maybe you want to rock the knees in again. And then from here, we are going to come up onto our hands and knees. Go ahead and come on up. If you want to put a blanket down for your knees, you might want to do that. That'll feel nice if your floor is hard and your mat is hard. We're going to come into Anahatasana. It's a really nice release for the upper back, middle back, the belly. You're going to be on your knees. You're going to stretch your arms out in front of you. You're going to bring your forehead to rest on the floor. If this feels too deep for you, you can always bring your forehead and your forearms on a bolster, the edge of a bolster. You could take a couple blankets propped on top of each other if you want to do that, just to maybe bring the floor a little bit closer to you. And you want to bring your bottom into a position where it's just behind the knees. So you don't want to be, watch up here for a second, you don't want to have your butt up in front of your knees like this, because you're going to feel like you're sliding. You're going to feel not like you're able to really release in this. So start with the knees under the hips, and then take the hips back. And then slowly just start to release through your rib cage. So you should feel this nice release of the soft tissue in and around the bottom ribs and your diaphragm area, your belly. Make sure that the forehead is resting easily. Just allow yourself just to simply notice the sensations that are associated with this pose. Each posture has a little bit different feelings that go along with it, energetically, physically. This one is an inversion, so you have this feeling, the sensation of the blood and the fluids flowing away from the pelvic area and moving towards the head and the heart. You might feel a sense of pressure through your neck area, maybe in your forehead. And just have a sense of curiosity about what's happening in your body, what's happening energetically. We'll just take one more breath here. Let it all the way in. And maybe even let out a little bit of sound again if that feels good. Or just open your mouth and just let yourself empty there. Good, and then slowly bring yourself back up onto your hands and knees here for a moment. And you can watch up here. We're gonna do a nice little opener for the front of our chest, the front deltoids. We'll be on our bellies for this one. So as you come onto your belly, let's do the right arm first. I'll just demonstrate for you. So you're going to bring your right arm straight out to the right. You're going to be using your left hand here to kind of roll onto your right side. You can bend that bottom knee, and you want to walk your right arm out. So you may need to bend it a little bit depending upon how your shoulder feels. Maybe you want to walk it up, maybe you want to walk it down further. And you want to bring that arm into a position where you can feel this stretch, ideally across the front of your chest, across your pectoral muscles, the front of your shoulder, your front deltoid, the inner arm, all this area that gets kind of shortened and tight from, just doing our daily activities. And the legs, you don't really have to do too much with the legs. Like I said, the bottom leg can be bent, top leg can be straight. Sometimes people like to bend that top leg, and you can even put the sole of the foot on the floor, possibly, depending upon how you're feeling. You may need to back off a little bit, and you may need to explore with that arm some different positions so that you're able to feel that stretch down into the, like I said, not just the front of the shoulder, but if we can get the, those pectoral muscles as well, that's a really nice place to get into. Try to relax where you can. And then we're going to very slowly start to ease back onto the belly. You can just take both arms by your side there for a moment. Rest a cheek. Turn your head to one side or the other, or you could rest your forehead on the back of your hand. Take a big breath right into your back body. Feel your whole back as you breathe in. Just feel it kind of spread and expand. And then as you breathe out, just let it go. Let your body empty. Let your lungs empty. All right, shall we try the other side? So you're going to take your left arm straight out to the side. I'm just going to show you this way. And then as you're using that right hand to roll onto your left side, you're kind of walking that left arm out. And again, explore, see kind of what position do I need to get my left arm into to feel that stretch all the way down into the chest. Be willing to explore and experiment. And once you're there and you feel like, okay, this is it, this is where I want to be, I can really feel that I need this, I've got my arm in the right position. We're right there at the edge where we're feeling that strong sensation, and then we want to be there with it, but we want to stop pushing. We want to soften. That doesn't mean we back off, but we relax the mind, right? We relax the rest of the body. We give those little cues, those little signals to our nervous system to relax. And the best way that we have always to do that is just the breath. I know I say that over and over, but it's a tool, it's our medicine. It's the best medicine that we have for stress, for physical pain. For grounding our energy. Going to take one more breath here. And then slowly exhale it out. Go ahead and roll back onto your belly. Just take a moment to pause there. Big breath in. Let it out. All right. And then you can move up to a seated position. And I'm going to have you open your blanket or your towel, whatever it is that you're using, so that we can make a longer roll with this, okay? So I've opened, if you can see my blanket, I've opened it up to here. And then, so it's a little bit longer, I'm going to roll it on the long edge. Like so, okay? And you're going to pull that underneath. You're going to have it under your legs, just like I have it right now. Your bottoms of your feet are going to come together, and you're going to take the ends of that blanket, and you're just going to hug the ends around the outer hips. Bottoms of the feet together. If you need a little bit more height here, if you want to take another blanket and prop it under your bottom, you can. And we're going to come into butterfly pose. So you bring the bottoms of the feet together, and we're going to slowly start to fold forward. If you have a bolster or a couple block props around, those can be really helpful in a pose like this to support your head and your neck. So you might take your block or your bolster and just prop your head, prop your forehead right on there so that you can really, really fully relax, that your neck doesn't have to do the constant work and have the constant strain of holding your head up. Just allow yourself to really begin to drop in and get quiet. Just enjoying the slow journey. I think it's really important to always just be checking in and really watch your thoughts, watch your thought patterns. Because thoughts are so powerful, we have to really guard ourselves about which thoughts we choose or we allow in. Like having that thought when you're having one of those days where you feel really low and it just feels dark, and you have that thought that there's something wrong with me. This isn't right. I shouldn't feel this way, right? Rather than shift feeling that thought can really lead you down a darker path. And instead, maybe you swap those thoughts out for, yeah, this is a hard day. I'm feeling low. Maybe my energy is low. It's dreary, it's dark. I feel completely unmotivated. Whatever it might be, whatever is going on. Maybe it's loneliness. Just swapping that and just recognizing that these are valid feelings and that they won't last. It will be temporary. And that this is part of the human experience, and it's okay to feel this way. Right? We don't have to relish in it, but we can recognize that it's also a valid emotion. They're valid feelings. And those thoughts allow us to move forward so that we don't get mired and stuck. We're going to slowly start to rise up here. We're going to use this blanket still, and we're going to take the legs out in front of us, and you're going to put that blanket, that roll, right behind behind your knees here. You're going to bring your legs, your feet about hip width distance, and you can sit up nice and straight. Maybe for the first few breaths of this posture, you might want to flex the feet just to really lengthen the back of the legs here, the back of the calves. And we're going to slowly start to fold over. A bolster on top of the shins or some pillows would be really nice just to lay your arms and your head on. Maybe you can't get that far. Maybe you want to take your bolster. You can kind of stack it end on end and rest your forehead right on the end of a bolster here, maybe a couple of blocks. Again, you just slowly ease your way right up to the edge of that sense, that deep sense of resistance, that deep stretch. And just begin to relax and release there. There's a great saying, quote by Lao Tzu, and it's watch your thoughts, they become your words. Watch your words, they become your actions. Watch your actions, they become your habits. Watch your habits, they become your character. Watch your character, it becomes your destiny. Wise words, true words, and if you think about it, you begin to realize why we need to really be aware of the thoughts that we are choosing to hold on to. You might start to let your head drop a little bit here. Let the back round. You might want to keep your feet flexed. Maybe you like that deeper stretch that you're feeling, or maybe you want to relax the feet a little bit. Good. As you take your last few breaths here, really using those exhales as a way to really just release and relax. Just signaling to your body, signaling to your mind to just completely let go, surrender and submit. And then very slowly start to make your way back up. All right. You can slide that blanket off to the side if you want to lie it down here. We're going to come onto our back. So you might want to put that blanket down, or maybe you want to save it to cover yourself up with when we do our Shavasana here. First, we're going to come onto the back, and we're going to come into Happy Baby. So, if you have a strap and you maybe can't reach your feet, you could use a strap over the feet. Make sure that it's cinched so that you can just reach up. So you would hook it around the feet this way and then hold on. Otherwise, if you can reach up to the inside of your feet and maybe grab onto the heel or the inside of the foot, take your feet nice and wide. Take your knees nice and wide. Right, you want to bring your knees towards either side of your chest. Maybe just gently rock a couple of times back and forth, but then let yourself come back to center and just let yourself become very, very still. Feeling your tailbone and your sacrum gently releasing down. Just giving the hips and the lower back a little bit more time here to soften. Very slowly, you can just go ahead and release your feet. Good. Stretch them up to the sky. Let's do just a few more ankle circles here. Kind of point and flex your feet a couple of times. Good. Bend your knees and then go ahead and find a nice resting pose, right, for Shavasana. This is the point in our practice where we don't do a pose, we're not in a shape. We're just going to lie on our back. You might want to put a bolster or a pillow beneath the back of your knees to support your lower back a little bit. Maybe you want to have a folded blanket or something underneath your head and your neck. And you can go ahead and just simply close your eyes. Maybe cover with a blanket. Just giving the body an ample opportunity to just kind of be in a state of stillness, which I know for some of us can be challenging sometimes, just to be still. We feel like if we're not moving and doing that, again, it's just a thought that, something's wrong. We're not being productive. We could be doing something. Let that thought go. This is very important, right? It's important to pause. It's important to become still, to quiet the mind, and quiet the heart. And just simply rest in the seat of consciousness. Right. Resting in this moment. So that as you step off of your mat after this practice, you feel less pulled by external forces around you and more guided by that calm, centered sense of equanimity, that grounded, solid, sure state of being, of mind. Knowing that everything is just as it should be right now. Learn to ride the waves instead of getting tossed around. If you have time in your day or in your evening, I want you to feel free to continue to rest on your mat. I think it's really important. The longer that you can have your Shavasana, the better it'll feel. Just allow yourself that opportunity. And I will say goodbye. I will look forward to the next time that we can be together. And I thank you. It's been, as always, an honor and a pleasure. Take care, everyone. Be well and be safe. Namaste.